This is our Algebra 1 EOC Practice Test. Number 1 gives you a table of measurements. Each of these students measured this fallen tree 4 times. This question is actually flawed. And a couple people asked me about this yesterday. It said, who was the most precise? The answer, there's actually no correct answer, but I can still take the opportunity to explain the difference, just to reiterate this for you, between precision, or being precise, and accuracy. Accuracy is how close somebody is to the actual measurement. So if the actual measurement, for example, was 4.98, somebody who measures 4.97 is more accurate than somebody that measures 5.06. 4.97 is closer than 5.06. That's accuracy. Precision just means how small something is measured. Okay? All of these measurements you can see are all to the hundredths place. All of them show you 2 decimals past. Every single one of them, the whole thing. So there is nobody who was more precise. This is actually a flawed question, number 1. We won't have one like this tomorrow. Precision, how small it's measured. Accuracy, how close it is. Number 2 says to simplify. 5 to the 4th to the 6th. You're raising a power to a power. You multiply 4 times 6, you get 5 to the 24th power. Number 3 tells you to simplify this one. It says, Miss Stanley asked the students to solve this. Which of the following is inequalities is equivalent? Okay, well, we have this left side over here, we have to simplify. We have like terms, 4x and 2x. That gives you 6x minus 5. It's greater than or equal to negative 7 plus 8x. Now you have to put your x's on the same side. Usually with variables like this, with inequalities, you want to put your x's on the left side. That way you can read it from the left side. But if you move it over to the right, it's okay. So I'll move this 8x over to the left, even though it's larger than positive 6x. So subtract it. When you subtract it here, you're going to get negative 2x minus 5. You don't do anything to reverse that symbol. Since all we did was subtract, that canceled. Since we moved the x over to the left, move negative 5 to the right. It says minus, so add it to this side. Negative 2x, again, all we did was add it, so you leave that symbol alone. Negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to take negative 2 and we're going to divide by it, since it says to multiply. When you divide the left, divide the right. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is positive 1. Now comes in where inequalities do something slightly different. Remember, when you divide or multiply by a negative number, you have to reverse that symbol. Greater than or less or equal to becomes less than or equal to. So x is less than or equal to 1. Number 4 says the odds. It says Darnell chooses a candy at random from a bag of candies. If the odds of choosing a candy are 3 to 7, what is the probability of not choosing a red one? And the first time I did this, I didn't see the not word. Make sure you read those questions carefully tomorrow. 3 to 7 are your odds. So that means there are 10 total. Remember, odds are favorable over unfavorable. So what that's saying is for every 3 candies you're going to pick, 7 of them are not going to be red. 3 of them are red, 7 are not. When you're talking about probability, however, it's your favorable outcome over your total outcomes. So if there's 3 red ones and 7 not red ones, then that means there are 10 of them total. So picking a red one would be 3 out of 10. However, one more time, this doesn't say picking a red one. It says not picking a red one. So in order to not pick a red one, it'll be 7 of them that are not red out of 10. There's your probability, 7 out of 10. Number 5 asks you for the domain of this function, f of x. All domains are your x values. Now you have 2 answer choices when you're looking at your domain. That's the domains. The y value, or what we have as your output, that would be your range value. It asks you for the range, but we're asking for the domain right now. Your x values, negative 2, 0, 1, and 8. There's 2 options. One of them looks like this. -2 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 8. What this is saying is all of the numbers between -2 and -8. That's what this looks like. All the numbers between -2 and +8. But that's not correct because it doesn't show all of the numbers between those for each of them. And since it doesn't show it, you just go with the ones that are listed. The one that anytime you're talking about domains, remember you have to have your little brace right there, and then -2, 0, 1, and 8. That's how you list a domain. Number 6 says Nathan graphs a linear equation on the chalkboard. If the line has a slope of -1/6, which of these could be the equation? Only one of the equations listed is in slope-intercept form to where you can see what the slope is. That's the one for C. It says y equals x minus 1/6. This one says your slope is -1/6. So we have a value -1/6, but that would be your B value in this case, not your M. Your M in this case would be 1. So it can't be that one. It has to be one of the other ones. The only one when you move it that gives you a slope value of -1/6 is the last one that's listed. 2x plus 12y equals 3. Make it say y equals mx plus b, so move the mx over. Subtract 2x. You have 12y equals -2x plus 3, and then divide by 12. It'll cancel. Y equals -2/12. The number 2 goes into both. It goes into itself -1 time, and into 12 6 times. Plus 3 goes into itself once, and then into 12 4 times. So you can see what your M value is of that last one, -1/6. That's the slope you were looking for, mx plus b. Number 7 says a needle begins 6 inches from the center. 4 minutes later, it's 4.8 inches from the center. Which equation models what's going on? Well, in 4 minutes, if we take 6 inches and we subtract 4.8 from it, in 4 minutes we can see that it moved 1.2 inches. But it's in 4 minutes. So divide 1.2 by 4, and it gives you 0.3 inches. So what that's saying is every minute it moves 0.3 inches, or it gets closer to the center. Notice the number goes from 6 to 4.8. It's going to get smaller. So it's going down. So the equation that's going to model that is the distance away is -0.3x, because that's how it's going down that much for every minute, plus where it started out at 0 minutes, which was 6. B equals -0.3. I wrote x in t, everybody, because the distance of time. 0.3 t, my plus 6. And then on the next page, it says the graph below shows Kelly's yearly earnings as a babysitter. Which of the following statements correctly describes the rate of change? Anytime you see that term, rate of change, that means slope. Which one of them correctly describes the slope? We can see it's going up. We can see for every 1 year, it's going about halfway, but for 2 years, you can see it goes up from 2,000 to 2,400. So that means in 2 years it went up 400, which means every 1 year it goes up 200. And you can see the second option says Kelly's yearly earnings increase at a rate of $200 per year. Number 9 says the graph shown below, which represents something that is parallel to the function below. Well, we know what parallel lines are. We know it's a line that looks similar to this because it'll never cross with the line that you're given. If it'll never cross, that means it has the same slope value, the same rise over run. So we're looking for something that has the same rise over run. So what you want to do is you want to take what's given to you to start and find its slope. Anytime things are parallel, they have the same slope. So remember, it's how many times you either go up and down. So start here and then you have to find yourself a point that's going through an intersection. This was a good point, going through an intersection right here. So go down 1, 2, 3, 4, down 5 times. Down means -5, and then see how many times it goes over. In this case, it's going to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4 times. There's the slope of the equation, -5/4. So look for one that has an m value of -5/4. The first one's 1, the second one's -4/5. The numbers are transposed. -5/4 is C. That's the one that we're going to use. Y equals -5/4x plus 6. Number 10 says Evan has $10 to spend on water and apples for his friends. A bottle costs 75 cents. An apple costs 50 cents. X represents water. Y represents an apple. Which equation shows what's going on? Okay. Well, we know that it's going to cost 75 cents for water times however many waters he buys, plus 50 cents for apples times however many apples he buys. So it doesn't matter how much of each of those he buys. We know that those are the values of each of them. We have an unknown amount in X and Y. We have an unknown amount of apples and waters. But we know that when you put those two together, it has to be $10 or below, because all he has is $10 to spend. So to say this has got to be smaller than or equal to $10, it has to say less than or equal to $10. 0.75x plus 0.50y is less than or equal to 10. Number 11 asks you which one is a function. You have 4 pictures drawn. Which one passes what's called the vertical line test? If when you draw a vertical line, it crosses through more than one point, it doesn't pass the function. So if we draw a vertical line on this one, it crosses through at least, it's an infinite amount, but at least more than one point. So that one's not a function. If we draw a vertical line, it crosses through at 2 points, not a function. If we draw a vertical line, it crosses through at 2 points, not a function. If we draw a vertical line, it only crosses once. Only once. Only once. That one's the one right there. That's the only one. That's called the vertical line test. Number 12 gives you a flow map. It asks you what is the next, or what is next after plugging in the stereo. Well, this is what we have here. This is where we're plugging it in. We know this means to go to this step. It says test it to see if it works. So the first option where it says test the stereo is the next thing you want to do. Number 13 says Paul graphs the linear function y equals -1/2 x plus 5. How would the graph of the function change if -1/2 were replaced with -1/4? Well, it doesn't change the b value of 5. It's just going to go down 1 and over. Instead of going over 2 times, it's going to go over 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll go there, and the equation will look like that. So you have to decide how are the slopes, or how are they described. It says it would become steeper, it would become less steep, it would shift down 1/4 of a unit, or it would shift up 1/4 of a unit. I would say that this would become less steep. It is not as steep, it's not going down as fast now. Number 14 says which one represents something equivalent to what's shown. You have 6x minus 8x squared times 1/2 plus 3x squared. Well, you always do your order of operations. This is all this is. It's a please excuse my dear Aunt Sally trick, or a problem, a PEMDAS problem. Do what's inside parentheses first. 6x minus 8x is -2x times 1/2 plus 3x squared. Okay, the only thing that's being squared at the end is x, so we're not going to quite get there yet. So it says -2x squared. That means -2x times -2x. Negative times a negative is going to give us a positive 4x squared times 1/2 Again, only the x is being squared in the 3x squared, so you don't need to square and make that 9. So then just multiply straight across. 4x times 1/2. Half of 4 we know is 2x squared plus 3x squared. Now we have the same exact variable raised to the same exponent, so we can add the coefficients 2 and 3 and get 5x squared. Then there's a table that shows how many minutes after 9 o'clock people enter this building at this company. It says that they're at a steady rate. You can see it's a steady rate because it's going up 15 from there to there. It's going up 30 here. That doesn't look steady, but then it's going up 15 again. So notice it just jumped a time period. It just didn't show the one in the middle. Right here, it's going up 25. Right here, it's going up 50. It should go up double since this one went up double. And then right here, it's going up 25. So you can see that if this was your y and this was your x, your y would be going up 25 and your x would be going up 15. Over 1. Yes, 25 over 15. Okay, that slope can be simplified. We know the number 5 goes into 25 5 times and into 15 3 times. So the slope is going to be 5 over 3. So the slope is 5 over 3. When x's value is 0, y's value is 22. So the b value is 22. So you have an m value of 5 over 3 and a b of 22. Y equals mx plus b is how you write this. You leave y, you leave you leave equals, and you leave x. You plug in m, 5 over 3, and you plug in b, plus 22. There's your equation. Y equals 5/3 x plus 22. 16 says which one's not a rational number. Rational numbers stop or they repeat. So an irrational number, so it's saying not a rational number, so that's asking you what is an irrational number. It doesn't stop and it doesn't repeat. So this one you can see it doesn't stop, but it repeats 1 4 1 4 1 4. So that's rational. 14 over 39, that number stops. The square root of 16, we know that's 4. That stops. This is the only one that's not rational, the square root of 17. And on the next page says the slope is 2 over 7, and it contains 0.38. Which one of these pictures is going to work? Well, let's look and see. This is 0.38, so it looks like it kind of crosses it right there. Same thing here, 38, 38. This one's definitely not it. It doesn't go through that one. And then 38, it looks like it could possibly cross that one too. So we just have to say which one has the slope 2 over 7. That's a positive slope. This one's going downhill. That one can't be it. That's a negative slope. So we have to choose between the first one and the last one. Going up 2 and to the right 7. Up 2, so from here, 1, 2, and to the right 7. That looks like it could be it. This one's going up. This one looks like it's going up 7 and over 2. This one looks like its slope would be reversed. So this one would have to be the correct one. Up 2 and to the right 7. Number 18 says a beaker contains 18.321 milliliters. Person pours out 4.9 milliliters. What's left with the proper number of significant digits? Well, we know if they pour it out, we're subtracting it. So 18.321 minus 4.9. So that's 90012. We'll borrow 1. 13 minus 9 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. So there's 13.421 yet left. But notice all of those answers give you the same numbers, just with a different amount of them. You have to go, when it says proper number of significant digits, this is something you learn in your science class, you have to go with the one that has the least amount. That causes it to be the least accurate. This one has one place after the decimal. 0.9. So you want one that has one place after the decimal. 13.4 is the proper amount. 19 says, this fit rate hat company says they make sizes who are equal to or greater than 6.5. So that would be like X is greater than or equal to 6.5. And it says less than 7. So that number's between those two. So your graph would look like this, 6.5 and 7. But it would count this one, so it's colored in. And it wouldn't count this one, and it would be all of the numbers between the two. Number 20, 20 says, Jason graphed this system. What is the solution to this system going to be? Remember what a solution to a system is. It's the point where when you have two lines, it's the point that they both cross. These are parallel lines. They will never create that point where they cross. So there's no solution to these. 21 says, Skip wants to estimate the area of a rectangular window. It measures 24.8 by 41.2 inches. What's the best way to estimate the window? Well, call 24.8 25 and call 41.2 40. 25 times 40, 4 times 5 is 20, 4 times 8 is 2 is 8, plus 2 is 1,000. So 1,000 square inches. That's estimate. '22 says 2 gasoline stations each sell gas at a steady rate. That means the slopes are going to be the same throughout the day. It's not going to change for one during the day. The two equations below show the amount of gas each has in stock, Y, in gallons over time. Let X represents the time since 9 a.m. So they both start with 3,200 gallons. That's what you can see. Station 1 is getting rid of or selling their gas 90 gallons per hour. Station 2 selling 45 gallons per hour. So they ask you to describe what's true about those. The first one's the most true statement. It says Station 1 sold gas twice as quickly as Station 2. '23 says she's studying the average weight with the gestation period. And this is what she gets when she plots all of the points. Which of the following best describes the relationship? Well, you can see as the weight increases, it's smaller on the left, it's larger on the right. As the weight increases, the gestation period is getting longer. So even though they're not on a perfectly straight line, you can see that there's a trend line going through them. So it says, what's the best description? The second one. It's linear. As animal weight increases, gestation period increases. '24 says the total area. The total area is 650 square feet. After painting 2 cans, he's got 450 square feet left. How many more cans? Well, you could see by using this, you can see that in 2 cans, if you subtract these two, you can see that he painted 200 square feet. So he needs to go 450. So what you're getting for every can, you're getting 100 square feet. So if he's got 450 more, divide 450 by 100. So it's going to be 4.5. That's not an option because you can't have a half of a can or a half of a gallon, whatever it is. So 5 is the best answer that goes. 4 is not big enough. 5 is the correct answer. And then the last one on the first section says, what is the image of point A, 0, negative 9, reflected across the x-axis? Well, let's look at it and see what it looks like. 0, negative 9, this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis. 0, negative 9 will be down here at negative 9. That's where the point will be. It says reflected across the x-axis. All reflecting means, if this is your x-axis, it means it's if you folded the whole thing over, if this whole thing folded over this way, then The x value is going to stay the same. The y value is going to become this one here, which is 0, positive 9, if it's reflected across the x-axis. 0, positive 9.